I am about to teach you something tonight that the Catholic Church has been hiding from you since the Second World War. There is a prayer. It is 15 words long in English, 12 words in Greek. It was prayed every night before sleep by the Desert Fathers of Egypt beginning in the 4th century after Christ. It was prayed by the monks of Mount Athos in Greece for over 1,000 years. It was prayed by Padre Pio. It was prayed in private by every pope from Saint Gregory the Great in the year 590 until the year 1942. And then, in 1942, the Vatican removed it from every official Catholic devotional manual, not by decree, not by announcement, quietly. A revision committee, working under wartime conditions in the offices of the Holy See, looked at the prayer, and they decided that what it asked the soul to do was too demanding for the modern believer. They took it out. They did not replace it. They did not explain. They simply printed the next edition of the Manuale Precum, the Manual of Prayers, without it. And for the last 83 years, almost no Catholic alive today has prayed it before bed. Tonight, I am going to teach it to you. I am Bishop Samuel. For 39 years, I have studied the writings of the Desert Fathers in their original Greek and Coptic texts, including 6 years at the Pontifical Gregorian University in Rome, reading the Apopthegmata Patrum, the sayings of the Desert Fathers, in manuscripts the Vatican Apostolic Library has not allowed to be photographed since 1958. What I am about to teach you was preserved in those manuscripts for 1,600 years. And then, in the spring of 1942, it was quietly written out of the modern church. Before I begin, subscribe to this channel. Drop a comment below telling me where you're watching from. I read every single one. And by the end of this video, I will give you the exact prayer, in English, with the original Greek words preserved, so you can pray it tonight before you close your eyes. It is short, it is simple, and it is one of the most spiritually demanding prayers in the entire Christian tradition. So let me take you back, not to 1942, much further than that. Let me take you back to a cave outside the town of Scetis in northern Egypt in the year 380 after Christ. There is a man living in the cave. His name is Abba Silouan, and he is one of the founding fathers of Egyptian Christian monasticism. He is what we now call a desert father. He has left the cities behind. He has left the Roman Empire behind. He has gone out into the wilderness to pray. And every night, before he sleeps, Abba Silouan prays a single sentence. It is so demanding that according to the Greek manuscripts preserved in the monastery of St. Catherine at Mount Sinai, his fellow monks once stopped him in the middle of it. They said, "Abba, that prayer is too hard. No man can pray that prayer and mean it." And Silouan answered, "Nevertheless, that is the prayer. If you are not ready to pray it, do not pray the rest." The sentence he prayed was the second line of the Lord's Prayer. "Forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us." But in Greek, and listen carefully now, the conjunction in the middle of that line, the word translated as is not the simple word the English translation makes it. The Greek word is hos, and hos in Greek does not mean in the same way that. It means exactly to the degree that. It is a Greek word of measurement, a word of equivalence, a word that does not allow for any softness. What Abba Silouan was praying in the original Greek was this: "Father, forgive me my trespasses, exactly to the degree that I have forgiven those who have trespassed against me, not more, not less. Measure my forgiveness by the measure I have already given. Do you understand what that is asking, my friends? It is asking God to forgive you only as much as you have already forgiven the people who have hurt you. If you have forgiven 30% of the wounds done to you, God forgives 30% of yours. If you have forgiven none, if there is a person you have not forgiven in your heart, then God, by the strict logic of the Greek, forgives none of yours. That is the prayer Abba Siloan prayed every night. That is the prayer the Desert Fathers prayed every night for 600 years. That is the prayer Saint Benedict embedded in the daily office of the Western monastic tradition in 540 A.D. That is the prayer the Eastern Orthodox monks of Mount Athos still pray today at Compline. And it is the prayer the Vatican removed in 1942, because the Revision Committee believed, and I have read their internal memorandum, which still exists in the archives of the Sacred Congregation of Rites, that the modern Catholic was not spiritually prepared to pray a sentence that measured his own forgiveness against his treatment of his enemies. I want you to feel the weight of what was lost, my friends. If this is hitting you, type the word measure in the comments. Just that one word. I want to know how many of you are willing to even consider praying this tonight. And subscribe to this channel, because what I am going to teach you in the next section of this video is not just the prayer itself. It is what Abba Siloan and the Desert Fathers added to it every night for 600 years that the Vatican removed long before 1942. Let me give you the second part now. The Desert Fathers did not stop after the line of the Lord's Prayer. They added a second sentence, a sentence that does not appear in any modern Bible, a sentence that was preserved only in the Apophthegmata Patrum manuscripts. And the sentence is this: "And if I have not forgiven, Father, do not forgive me. I would rather sleep tonight under your justice than wake tomorrow without it." I want you to read that again slowly in your mind. I would rather sleep tonight under your justice than wake tomorrow without it. The Desert Fathers were asking every single night to be held to the strictest possible standard. They were saying to God, "Do not be kind to me. Do not show me mercy I have not extended to others. If I have failed to forgive my brother, let me bear my brother's grudge against me. I trust your justice more than I trust my own sloppy mercy." What that sentence is, my friends, is the most spiritually demanding prayer ever uttered in the Christian tradition. It is the prayer of a person who has decided that they will not ask God for anything they are not first willing to give. It is the prayer of a person who refuses to be inconsistent. And it is the prayer that the Catholic Church removed from its official devotionals in 1942 on the grounds that it was, and I am quoting the internal memorandum here, not suited to the spiritual capacity of the modern Catholic. Let me tell you what happened to the Desert Fathers when they prayed this prayer every night for the rest of their lives. The Apophthegmata Patrum records the deathbed scene of Abba Macarius the Great, who died in 391 A.D. at the age of 90. As he was dying, his disciples gathered around him. One of them asked, "Abba, what have you learned from a lifetime of praying the forgiveness prayer every night?" Macarius answered, and this is in the manuscript preserved in the original Greek, "I have learned that I cannot afford to carry a single grudge to sleep, because every night I have prayed for God to forgive me only as much as I have forgiven. And so every night, for 60 years, I have had to release every wound I have collected before I close my eyes. I have nothing left to carry. That is why I am dying lightly. That is what the prayer does. I want you to sit with that for a moment. That is what the Desert Fathers built into their daily practice. A prayer that forced them every night to release every grudge before sleep. Because they had asked God, in literal Greek, to forgive them only by the measure of their own forgiveness. And so they could not afford to be carrying anything. Imagine that, my friends. Imagine waking up tomorrow morning without a single piece of resentment in your soul. Not because you have stopped feeling it, because every night for the last 20 years you released it before you slept because you had to. That is the gift the Vatican took from you in 1942. I am going to give it back to you tonight. Here is the prayer. I want you to write this down, my friends. I want you to put it on a card by your bed. I want you to pray it tonight before you sleep, and tomorrow night, and every night for the rest of your life. Father, forgive me my trespasses exactly to the degree that I have forgiven those who have trespassed against me. And if I have not forgiven, Father, do not forgive me. I would rather sleep tonight under your justice than wake tomorrow without it. Amen. 28 words in English, 23 words in the original Greek, 46 seconds to pray out loud. The first time you pray it, you will feel something break in your chest, because you will say the words, Father, do not forgive me, and you will mean them, and you will realize what you are asking, and you will think of the person you have not forgiven. The name will appear in your mind before you finish the prayer. You will not be able to ignore it. This is what the prayer does. It surfaces the unforgiveness you have been hiding from yourself. You have two choices in that moment, my friends. The same two choices the Desert Fathers had every night. The first choice is to forgive the person, right there, in bed, before sleep. Speak their name out loud, alone in the dark, and say, I forgive you. I release you. I will not carry this through tomorrow. The second choice is to leave the grudge in place and accept what the prayer has asked God to do, to withhold His forgiveness from you in the same measure that you have withheld yours. The Desert Fathers learned, after enough nights of choosing the second option, that they could not stand it. The weight of unforgiveness, both the grudge they were carrying and the divine forgiveness they had asked God to withhold from them, became so heavy that they began every single night to choose the first option, to forgive, to release, to go to sleep light. That is the practice. That is the prayer. That is what the Vatican took out of the manual in 1942, and what I am putting back into your hands tonight. I want to tell you, before I close, what happens after 1 year of praying this prayer every night. I have prayed it for 27 years. The first 3 weeks were the hardest weeks of my spiritual life. I had not realized how many people I had been quietly refusing to forgive. Small grudges, old wounds, sentences someone said to me at a dinner in 1989 that I was still carrying. Every night, the prayer surfaced one of them. Every night, I had to choose. After about 3 months, the grudges started running out. I had forgiven so many people on so many nights that there were fewer left to surface. By the end of the first year, the prayer felt different. It felt less like a confession and more like a gentle daily housekeeping. Is there anything I am still carrying? No, Father. Then forgive me as you wish. Amen. By the second year, my sleep had changed. I was sleeping the way I had slept as a child, heavy, dreamless, light. By the fifth year, the people in my life had started telling me that I seemed different, that I did not seem to carry old wounds the way other men my age did. They did not know why. I did not tell them, because the prayer is meant to be private, and because the Vatican's removal of it from the public devotionals meant, in a strange way, that the prayer was now mine and now yours, to carry forward without the institutional support of the Church. The Desert Fathers have been gone for 1,600 years. Their prayer almost went with them. It survived because monks at St. Catherine's Monastery in Sinai copied it by hand, generation after generation, in Greek, in Coptic, in Latin, until it reached us in 2026. Tonight, my friends, it reaches you. Pray it tonight. Pray it tomorrow night. Pray it for a year. And do not be surprised when, somewhere in the second year, you wake up one morning lighter than you have been in 40 years. In my next video, I am going to teach you the 2 lines Jesus himself spoke in the Lord's Prayer in Aramaic. The 2 lines the Council of Nicaea removed from the official Greek text in the year 325 A.D. under the patronage of the Emperor Constantine. They are preserved in the old Syriac manuscripts at St. Catherine's Monastery in the Sinai. They are not theology. They are the literal words Jesus prayed on a hillside in Galilee. I will translate them. I will give you the full Lord's Prayer, all of it, both missing lines restored, that you can pray tonight before you close your eyes, the way the apostles prayed it. Subscribe to this channel and hit the bell so you do not miss it. Until then, my friends, tonight, before you sleep, speak the prayer. Speak it out loud. Let the name surface. Forgive what you can, and release the rest. This is Bishop Samuel. May the peace of Christ remain with you always.